Welcome to Podcast on TechNation. This is a series of podcasts focused specifically on the biomedical and HTM industry. Episodes will be added monthly. Listening to each episode is eligible for 1 CE credit from the ACI. At the conclusion of this episode, you'll be able to access a survey that will appear under this episode's title, and you'll be able to download your certificate once you submit the survey. Before we begin today's podcast, I'd like to invite you to our fall MD Expo. We will be in New England from October the 8th to the 10th, so please visit mdexposhow.com for event details and registration information. Podcast on TechNation would like to thank our sponsor, Multi-Medical Systems. When you're in the business of protecting the health of patients, you don't have time for malfunctioning medical equipment or dull surgical instruments. You need a reliable partner that can provide expert repair and planned maintenance to ensure you have patient-ready equipment that meets or exceeds OEM guidelines and regulatory requirements. Multi-Medical Systems provides these crucial elements and others such as on-demand temporary biomedical staffing, endoscopy and surgical repairs, infusion pump preventative maintenance teams, and equipment sales. For more information, please visit multimedicalsystems.com. In this episode, we are joined by Almetha Ford, cybersecurity consultant at Tata Consultancy, and J.C. Newell, Senior Cybersecurity Project Manager at Kaiser Permanente.
And we're back. HTM Insider again with part 2 with my friends J.C. and Almetha. Gosh, we were having so much fun on our first conversation that we decided to break it into 2 parts. Again, if you listen to just this part with TechNation, you do get that CE credit. Follow us on Apple Music, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcast. So we're going to jump back into the conversation right now with my friends and just continue listening.
I believe I'm the Easter Bunny. I have so many eggs in my basket. I do. Okay. I keep a basket full of eggs all the time. And then also learn what's needed in your field, and not where it is now, but where it's going. Right now, they're struggling to find people that understand medical device cybersecurity. You can still be in biomed and understand it. There's a biomed association called ISC Squared. They're offering free certification. You go there, they give you the online training, and they pay for that $200 peer testing center testing for you to become entry-level certified in cybersecurity. Get that on your belt. That's a global association. Now you can go to the local association and rub some elbows. Get to know people to know you. You get to know them. Your network is your net worth. Don't play. So get yourself seen. Get yourself on LinkedIn. Build your business card. LinkedIn is your digital business card. It's not for your company. It's for you. So build that. Learn what that can do for you. And just grow in your knowledge, in your experience, and what's values you are. Because I remember going through all this. People call me a unicorn, and before people called me crazy because they said I was. I went to interviews because they said, Almetha, it seems like you don't know what you want to do. Do you want to do biomed or IT? And I would say to them, I'm a healthcare technology expert. I think we need to understand all of it. And where are we now? We need to understand all of it. So don't let other people dictate your directions. If you see it and you can forecast where things are going because you know in your gut, oh, this is going to go this. Now big data is becoming in. How can I make sure that my biomed experience will help collect this big data or all this integration? Or now biomed, everything, all these circuit boards are integrated. Now they're only swap fix. Well, okay, if they're swap fix, then I'm going to manage how these things come in, who uses them, help be part of that training and knowledge. Always think above and out of the box and don't just put yourself where I hate to say it, a lot of our older, more seasoned biomeds are in where they're just saying, that's not my job.
Status quo.
Yes. You know what? One of the phrases I use, I hate it when technicians pigeonhole themselves. You know, they get out of school and the first job they get is a dialysis technician. And they do dialysis for 10 years. And then when they want to go change a job to be a biomed in a facility, they're treated like a biomed one and they don't understand. But it's because they don't have any other experience with any medical devices. So they can't get the pay that they think they deserve. They can't get the position they think they deserve. But it's because you stuck yourself here. So it is great to do specialized work, but only do it for 3 years, then move on.
And you got to get through the conferences, the networking, like you were saying, Almetha. I'm a big LinkedIn believer. You've got to get out there and meet people, because when you meet people, your world opens up.
I would also say the one that part. I'll give an example, if you don't mind. I'll give you a short story. I was working as an assistant director in Anchorage, Alaska. I love Anchorage, but that's a whole nother story. That's a later story. But anyway, so I was working in Anchorage, Alaska, and we needed to do some changes. So we had one of the things, we had a lab tech, and that's all he did was lab equipment. So people were growing, oh, he's not working all the time. We're working our butts off and everything else. So I said, okay, let's change things up. So I had the technicians that weren't doing certain things work with somebody so they could be mentored. So whoever's doing these patient monitoring, I started them simple. Patient monitors, learn patient monitors. Go with them, learn them, and then that way you can help PM the patient monitors when you're not doing lab equipment. And then he started doing more. At first, he wasn't happy about that because I had him doing more work. But eventually, he was appreciative and happy about that, because then he was able to get a job, because he was trying to go back home to Arizona. He was happy because now he had other equipment besides lab. So now he could apply for a job that wasn't just lab, where they didn't need a lab tech. So then he was able to go in and say, hey, I specialize in lab equipment, but I also know patient monitoring. I know this, I know telemetry, I know this. And he got a job doing that. And then he became the manager and director of this house. And so, which allowed him to go home to his wife. His wife was staying in Arizona and not up in Alaska. So he had taken that move. You remember I said sometimes you may need to relocate. He did that. But then finally he let that go, and he embraced the difference, and it benefited him. And he tells me, so now he's retired now. He's like, that was the best thing he ever did, and he appreciated it. So I recommend that to everybody. Don't just put yourself in one niche. Be that Easter bunny. Carry them eggs.
I like it. I like it. I think that's so important. And you ladies are both so inspiring. I love meeting you at conferences, hanging out, breaking bread together, and just getting to know one another on a different level, which I think is so important. One thing that I was just at a conference, and a young biomed said to me, man, people in this industry hug a lot.
Yes, we do.
Think about it from an outside perspective, but we're so happy to see one another. Yeah. And it's such a tight-knit group. While it's large in scale for the United States and how many biomeds are out there, HTM professionals, I should say, it's amazing how well connected we are. So utilize that. Like you were saying, Almetha, utilize your connections. Ask for help. Ask for advice. We put on pins that said, at the last conference we were at, I made pins that just said, ask me to be a mentor.
Yes.
And I picked out people, and they wore the pins, and they were like, people were just coming up and asking them questions.
Well, here's to what you said. We are actually a fraction of what the other fields are in the hospital. So let's say you're in a small hospital. They'll probably have 3, 4, 5 IT people, all right, in a small hospital. Desktop, service desk, and then people that are doing the networking and working with the servers. But in the hospital, you can only have, sometimes in the small ones, one biomed. So, and in the larger hospital, I've seen, like in one hospital, let's say it's over 1,000 beds, you got 17 biomeds dealing with 30,000 pieces of equipment. But you'll have in IT double, if not triple that. You're only a small group. So when we see someone else in their misery loves company, but we're not miserable, but like minds or insane people that are really embracing this field, yeah, we're going to hug you because we get it. We know what you're going through. So we're going to give you a hug, a big hug.
Yeah, but you know what? I want to say that's why it was after the conference that we did in Orlando that we started talking about the BYOB Zoom call on IHTM. Every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 Central, 5 Mountain. And so the BYOB Zoom call was made so that all of those people that don't really have people to hang out with, or they've made friends and they want to keep it going, we created a safe space. There's no video. We just dare to talk. We want to just hang out. We want to just spend more time with our friends that we've made at conferences and that we know on LinkedIn. Isn't it great to put a face to the name of somebody you're connected to in LinkedIn, but you guys have never seen each other? But the BYOB Zoom call is that. Get your favorite libation, whether it be hot tea, a soda, a drink. You know, for me, I like whiskey, or I like my mimosa. But we like to get together and just chill out at the end of the day on a Friday night and just talk. We often have people coming in to do different things. So we have people that are talking about issues that they're having at their facility, and we're a support system. So we talk about things that they can do, and we give them advice, and we help them to make decisions. We have people who are bringing in new inventions and new technology that nobody's seen yet, but they're showing us and talking to us about it when they want to put it out and getting that initial, oh, wow, that's cool. Or, hey, wouldn't it be better if you added this, this, and this? So it turns into a very fun-filled, relaxing, collaborative environment where we see good friends, spend time just for an hour on a Friday night.
I love that. And that's, we bounce things off of each other. We learn so much more, especially when you're open to it, right?
Yeah. And when you have a good group of people on there and everybody can see each other and talk, it makes it so much more genuine. You don't feel as if you're talking to somebody and they're just about business. How can I get this business? Because that's not what it was designed for. It was designed just for us to relax with each other like we do at a conference. We all know that business is done on the conference floor or the expo floor. Is not done in niches and classrooms or setting up meetings. When we get together and we're in a relaxed environment, we have the best time, but then we see that genuine person. That's the person we want to get to know.
Yeah. We do a lot of collaborating, a lot of business, a lot of growing when we break bread together.
That's mentoring. It. So we'll have the struggles that you've been through for seasoned technicians with what they've struggled through in their careers, how they had to get through it with young people that are coming into the fields. What are they struggling through it, and how are they adjusting to it, or how can they adjust to it? Because knowledge is power, and sometimes you don't always know how to address certain situations and the best way to approach them. Or now that you're in that 3-4 year, what's the best direction for me to go? And so having people ask you questions like, what are you geared to? What do you like? Have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? Helps. And that's what we all do in those meetings.
Okay, ladies. So I got to know, if I am in a small town or a small shop and I'm a biomed, and let's say I'm 5 years in and I don't know where to grow or how to grow, where would you suggest that they go to find this information, to start learning networking, to learning the next steps in their career? Maybe they can't go to a conference. You know, we have a lot of young parents out there with kids, and what do they do? How do they find it? Do they find you? Do they find it on the internet? What do you suggest?
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to say I am a huge, huge supporter of biomed associations. And that is the one place that a tech can go to get resources, support, find out about jobs, and things of that nature. Another thing is LinkedIn. It is really great for that. But I'm also got to push. I got to push IHTM. We do presentations regularly. Regularly. We have a calendar of events come to the site. We have different areas. We have areas where we have HTM hot topics. We have education resources where we have training and advice. We talk about recruiting and finding new jobs, and we also have a project management piece, cybersecurity, as well as what we call the well. And the well is a space where you get encouragement and refreshing after you've had a long day or just a good word. But one of my favorite parts about IHTM is IHTM Laugh Out Loud. Put your favorite funny story, your funny video, or your funny gift to help someone smile during the day. But if you're 5 years and you want to know where to go, you have amazing resources in whether it's you getting with your local association, checking LinkedIn, or coming on IHTM. We're here for you to try to bring everyone together so those people or these people here can help support you in your efforts. We want to know what you want to do with your life, what you want to do with your career, what ideas do you have, what you're focused on. And then we want to help try to mentor you and bring that out of you and guide you into where to be better.
I love that. Now, Almetha, I got something for you. You ready? So now I'm a biomed, and I know that IT and I and our department should work better together, but I'm not the manager. And what would you say is like a direction I should go? Like, how should I approach IT? How should I approach my manager who's been there for 20 years and doesn't want to talk to IT, but I see this is where it needs to go? What do you suggest?
I suggest a couple things. One is education. Learn it. Learn it. Because it took me 5 years to get into an clinical application support area after I got my bachelor's degree in healthcare management information systems. That degree didn't help me right away. It helped me 5 years later to get into that IT position that helped me use my biomed experience into IT. So I would say learn. Use that tuition reimbursement. I don't care if you already have an associate's degree. I'd go for another one. It'd be in project management or it'd be in IT. So I would continually always learn. That's what that tuition reimbursement is for. Don't let it go, because that is your compensation pack and your worth to the hospital, saying this is what you're worth to me to spend on you for your education. So why let that go? Right? So
You just let money run away.
well, when you leave, guess what? You use your tuition reimbursement and you get your degree. What happens when you leave? What goes with you?
Your degree, your education.
So I would first make sure I get that knowledge and that education. Then I would have those conversations with not only my biomed director, but I would also ask IT, where are your struggles with the medical devices? Where are your gaps? I find those gaps. Your project manager, where is she finding it struggle for where she's doing projects for those gaps, and learn to fill those gaps? Because like I said, once you become that go-to, you help open up other people's mind, because now you have that expertise that maybe somebody else doesn't have. And then you can have more of those conversations because they see you doing. Does that make sense? So be conducive for I've had where manager wasn't happy about IT, but I definitely had some conversations and built some rapport with my IT people. So the resistance that they were getting on their end, I wasn't getting. Does that make sense? So then it easier to get around and collaborate and do what I need to do. So once they see me doing things and they went smoother and quicker, now they're like, well, how'd you do that? Let me show you something. And then that's how you do it. Sometimes you can't always hit that wall, okay? Because people may take it personally, but sometimes you just need to do what you do and flow with the people what we do as biomeds with nursing staff, management staff, and build those rapports to make those avenues easier.
Because we connect on common ground. We connect on, maybe it's anything from hobbies to how you feel about patient care and patient safety. You have those conversations. Once you make that connection, it's hard to break. My dad always said that the one thing that no one can ever take away from you, sis, they called me sis and sissy back in the day, is education.
Mm-hmm.
That's yours. You own it. He
That's
goes,
right.
everything can be taken away, but right here, whatever you got up here, that's yours.
And sometimes
Yeah.
it's not going manager, it's not going director to C-suite. Sometimes it's technician to technician. And you build relationships with that other technician and you start working together and then people start seeing that you make a difference and people get promoted. So maybe that person becomes a manager who's now more receptive than that person. So you just do it one step at a time. And sometimes it
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to jump in and say, oftentimes you have biomed shops that need to work with IT, but every time they call IT, they get a help desk person. There's no backdoor phone number that they can call someone in IT to say, help me with this, because IT is structured that way where everything comes as a ticket. Everything comes through IT. But when you build that rapport and you have that relationship, your management and other techs going to be like, well, how did she get that done that fast? Because you built a rapport and you have a backdoor number. You have somebody that you can reach out to and they want to talk to you because you're easy to work with and you get the work done. To me, I am a networker. I network to death. I will network with every aspect of hospitals, from finance to contracts to HR to IT. It doesn't matter. I got a connection somewhere. But all of us should have that because all those areas are integral and you need that backdoor number. When you're standing at a device and something is going wrong, it's not the time to say, well, I'll put in a ticket and I'll have someone call you. No, you need somebody right now. And that's when it gets important to build those relationships. As far as management goes, we're running to an area and a realization where we're now looking at the rise of the IOMT. Now you have the Internet of Medical Things, and these technicians are the gap between biomed and IT. They do both. And this is where we're going now as an industry. Kaiser Permanente is doing this in a big way. They have a 32-man team that they're building to handle these types of issues across the enterprise. It's amazing. Amazing.
I would also say one of the other pieces is to help build those rapports. If I get a problem and I'm getting that help desk bumper, I'll use it. But many a times I've walked down to IT. I've talked to, hey manager, how you doing? I'm kind of struggling with this. Can you any advice how to help? And the managers are usually very nice, very helpful, but they're not aware of what's going through the pipeline until a lot of times, just like Biomed, we don't know what's going bad until it explodes because we got that last minute call. That's the importance of doing rounds where people are like, I don't feel like doing rounds. But if you go and do those rounds first thing in the morning and talking to the staff, you get ahead of stuff that you would have been called into the office as a major problem. So me dealing with ITs, I'll go down and I'll talk to a manager or something like that. Or if they're going to lunch, you want to go to lunch? What do you want to do? So, and then we just talk. And it don't always have to be about business. It could just be, hey, how you doing? Here's, in the health system, here's some of my struggles and stuff like that. Are you seeing some of those? And, how are you working through that? And boy, that's a great idea. You start bouncing off it just like you would anybody else you meet. And then those build those rapports. And that's how it starts.
And that's why we're here today, because I met the wonderful J.C. years ago in Dallas.
Yes, definitely.
And we just clicked.
Adding to the point what J.C. was saying about the training and learning on that previous question, COVID has changed a lot about training and learning. So now there's even more online than or where you had to physically be somewhere. So research and do those online. LinkedIn has all kinds of online webinars. There's all kinds of free. There's Black Hills that offer pay as you can afford it cybersecurity courses, and there's other stuff. SANS is free, has free courses. Microsoft has free courses just for you to understand some basic stuff. So just do the research and you'll be surprised of what you can learn for free. And YouTube.
Not to mention Webinar Wednesdays from TechNation.
Yes, there you go.
Love MD Publishing. That TechNation Webinar Wednesdays, MedWrench.
There you
awesome.
go. And YouTube University. Get that.
Yes.
So there's so many opportunities now to learn stuff than there was before COVID.
Oh, 100%. My daughter went through school, BMed school at CBET during
There you
COVID.
go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did she get a chance to use the VR goggles for the education?
That came after, but I think they're doing a wonderful, thing using that VR, which is something that is so unique to learn and train on, right? I mean, it's something that we thought was a game earlier, right? You played it as a game, and now it's having clinical applications that are just amazing to be able to have that experience, right? Well, ladies, I loved having you guys on. We could talk forever. We'll have to do another episode since this was part 1 and part 2. But I can't wait to connect with you again in person. Do you have any last words of wisdom? I know we talked about some earlier that you want to leave our listeners with.
Almetha, I'll let you go first.
Well, for me, and I guess that's kind of been my theme, knowledge is power. And don't be afraid to use those wings. And just
100%.
Definitely. And I would say, don't knock it till you try it. Biomed can be fun. So to get out there and learn something new, learn a new device, take a chance on yourself to get out there and just grow, grow, grow. Never stop adding to your tool belt.
Or
you guys are just amazing. I just love you. I love the motivation. I love the inspiration. It makes me want to go get some eggs in my basket.
Thank you for a great presentation. If you enjoyed today's episode, you might enjoy our ongoing webinar series, Webinar Wednesday. You can find a calendar of upcoming live webinars, as well as an archive of on-demand webinars at webinarwednesday.live. To obtain your certificate for 1 CE credit from the ACI, please remember to complete and submit the survey located below the podcast title. If you have any questions, you can reach us at webinar@mdpublishing.com.